Let's follow the road that lies ahead. Om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum.
So hello everybody, Namaste, Lindsey Porter here of yoganuu. This is just a very sort of special ad hoc recording I wanted to put together for you, and in particular to all the Yoga Scotland Foundation students, past and present, just to share something with you, and of course to all yogis as well. So what I've done, I've invited Pema Deki, otherwise known as Emma Slade, who's an ordained Buddhist nun who's based in the UK. If you've yet to understand or know her story, you can read about it in her published book Set Free, and she's also got a TEDx talk as well. So I thought it'd just be interesting to invite Pema to come on so I can ask her a couple of questions here. So let me just bring her into the screenshot here. Hello Pema, thanks.
Hello.
So Pema's used to me putting her on the spot a bit and it never phases her. But Pema, it's lovely for you to chat with us for a few minutes today. I thought it'd be interesting, just the audience I'm looking to share with this, and I know it's a massive, vast topic, but this idea of yoga and Buddhism. So you've studied both in quite some depth, and there are a few differences and a lot of similarities. I was just wondering, maybe you could just offer us a view in your experience of both these disciplines, and how do they sort of come together in your sense of lifestyle, and how might that be useful for us as yogis?
Yeah, it's a massive topic. And I think with all of these things, as I'm sure everybody knows, actually, the more you find out about a subject, the more you realize how much more there is to find out about a subject. So it's definitely an ongoing subject, isn't it? So I suppose that in both traditions, they have the notion of a yogi, which is something to aspire to, something which humans are capable of becoming, associated with simplicity, kindness, and non-selfishness. So free of the kleshas of the mind. And that there are different methods to achieve that state of what it is to be a yogi. And yoga, as you know, has various different branches, various different methods for achieving that, yes? Leading to a state which is called samadhi, sometimes called self-realization, yeah? So first of all, we should say that I think that both yoga and Buddhism describe this profound possible path for a human to take. Of all of the things they could do with their life would be to follow Dharma, free of selfishness, and achieve mental clarity and stability in this state of samadhi. So in that way, we can see lots of similarities between yoga and Buddhism, right? Buddhism is also a huge subject because it's 2,500 years old, and it has also its own schools and different stages of development. In the early stages of Buddhist writings, I think you can see more similarity with the yogi path leading to a state of samadhi. Nyamshak is the Tibetan term. Once you come to Buddhism from about the 1st or 2nd century onwards, greater emphasis is placed on what is called a wide path, which means that the Buddhist practitioners are following a Mahayana path, which means that they aspire not simply to samadhi or self-realization. They aspire to a state called a bodhisattva, which is again is a Sanskrit term, which means that their motivation is not purely for their own realization, their own mental stability, but is for the benefit of all beings. So there, for anybody who's read a lot of the texts, maybe Patanjali or something like that, you'll think, no, that is a bit different actually. That emphasis on practicing for the benefit of all beings, taking all beings with you in your practice, humans, animals, whatever, that probably is a different emphasis. So there we can definitely see some difference. And that is from the Mahayana Buddhist point of view, which really gained strength from the 1st or 2nd century onwards. And all of the Himalayan schools of Buddhism, such as the Solas of Dalai Lama and, you know, what I study in Bhutan, etc., all of those would be in that wider motivation. So that is a key difference, I would say. Any questions there, Lindsay, from that? Just a couple of thoughts. Yeah.
No, I was just soaking it up because every time I hear you speak, there's always something new coming in. So thank you. It was lovely to hear that and share that. And just following on from that, because obviously, I suppose our motivations in 2020 have been kind of a challenge to some degree of everything going on. I was interested just to ask you, in terms of helping yogis, and I know for sure, I'm sure many of us that practice yoga, this is the year where kind of what's this, the metal meets the road, that our yoga practices are really helping support all the challenges mentally and physically. I just wonder if you could offer us some thoughts really about how we can continue and help ourselves and help others moving on from 2020 into whatever the year ahead might bring us.
So I guess when we stand far, far back from 2020 and equate it to a yogic or Buddhist philosophy of teachings, we can see many things, right? We can see the truth that things are always changing of their own nature, you know, they're always changing. We can see that the mind struggles with the unwanted. We can see that from the obstacles comes the greatest realization of kindness, selflessness. We can see the truth of the preciousness of human life, ourselves and others. All of these, I think, have been very clear. And then obviously from a Buddhist point of view, we have absolutely seen this interconnected state of all phenomena and reality, even in the very air that we are breathing in and breathing out, very clearly in these masks that we're having to wear now. You know, we can't deny the fact that we are all interconnected, even in the very air that we breathe. So we are learning a lot here.
Thank you. And what would be your, I don't know, maybe a couple of words of helping us all face into the unknown in the next year and beyond?
So from a Buddhist point of view, we always recognize that there is difficulty, or what tends to be called suffering in the world. And we ask, what is the cause of that suffering? And when we describe the Dharmic path of Dharma to be free of suffering, then we describe that path as something to rely on. So I think for many of us, this year and going into next year has made us ask the question, what can I rely on? Because many of the things that perhaps we thought we could rely on haven't turned out to be that reliable. So I think it's good to ask, what fundamentally do I feel that I can rely on now? What do I feel I can wholeheartedly trust, you know? And from a sort of simple point of view, that might be capacity to love, might be like that. From a Buddhist point of view, we rely on the path itself. Rely on the teachings of the Buddha, we rely on the Sangha, the community of like-minded people, but we rely on the path itself. To know that you're on the path, the Dharmic path, and to turn to the teachings, to know that you have Buddha nature, you have a precious human life. Somehow these things we can rely on. And if we do not forget them, we'll never lose that ground, that certain ground that we can rely on. But if you don't know what you can rely on now, I would imagine the time can be very tricky. So would be exploring that from a Buddhist point of view. We're on a path of karmic progression, lifetime after lifetime, you know, and that's the, you know, ultimate reality. Yeah. Have I've answered your question there, Lindsay?
Food for more thought.
You what?
Always food for more thought.
And what was the? Is there any kind of follow-up question there, just to make sure I've answered your question fully?
Oh, I think that's good. That's great. And I guess I would just like to finish off by saying thank you. I know lots of you have also really appreciated your guidance to explore more into Buddhism, especially from this year and all the online offerings. So thank you so much for your time, and I look forward, and I hope you have a very nice time in your retreat in January.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lindsay. Okay.
Om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum. After blessings have been received, we all set off towards our humble home back in the east. Putting one foot forward and then the other, moment to moment, just like the Buddha all those years ago. With the bread of life, let the trumpet sounds, we seek compassion and true understanding for all creeds and all races that live with us here and calls us to the source. And the bells were spells, there was incense, and many, many prayers were spoken for the well-being of His Holiness. Chants and mantras and butter lamps were lit for all the wandering souls that ever live. Deep in your heart, the wise one said, and let's follow the road that lies ahead. Om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum.